Hey guys, what's going on? Sir Squire here, and welcome back to another team showcase on Pokemon Showdown. I had a lot of requests for this specific type of team, so I figured Grim Reminder 09 sent me one, so I figured I'd show it to you. Definitely check him out, link in the description. Team is in the description if you want to use it. Definitely use it. It's a really fun team. First off, let's get some business out of the way. I'm uploading this on Christmas Day, so Merry Christmas to all my Christmas celebrating friends and fans. Enjoy. Have a great day. For the rest of you, I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. Happy New Year coming up to all of you, following the traditional Roman calendar, I guess. Whatever. But yeah, so we have here a sand team by popular request. I had a couple of people reach out to me and say, hey, you think you're going to showcase a sand team anytime soon? And I was like, you know what, that's a pretty good idea. Maybe we should run through some weather teams, check out some different stuff in terms of that. So while I'm still kind of learning the meta and I don't really feel 100% comfortable building teams just yet while I'm trying to figure out the different threats and the different bans that are coming through for this OU meta. But in the meantime, I did have this sand team come my way, and I did think that it was good enough to kind of showcase to you guys. Way more balanced than the previous team I showed you. Probably the most balanced team that I'm showcasing so far in terms of viability. You'll probably get the farthest with this team than any other team that I've showcased so far. So let's check it out. First thing we have here is Hippowdon. Hippowdon, main sand setter upper, right? Really cool. Great for just like an awesome bulky lead and switch in, and plays really well with the other wall that we're going to show later. This thing's just a straight up wall. Like, this thing just comes in and eats hits. Any physical hit, this thing just eats for dinner, man. This thing's crazy. So leftovers, Stealth Rock, Slack Off, Earthquake, Whirlwind, right? Plus defensive nature. I think what nature is that? Oh, forgive me. Impish nature, right? Really cool. Great stuff. Great stuff here. Whirlwind is awesome for just getting Pokemon out that might start setting up on you for being in, because like this thing's not going to kill anything, right? So Whirlwind's just great for getting things out. It's useful stuff. Useful stuff on the Whirlwind. Next up, we have Excadrill with Expert Belt, Sand Rush, Sword Head. Whoa. Swords Dance, Iron Head, Earthquake, Rapid Spin. Classic Excadrill moveset here. Thing base, 88 speed, will outspeed a good amount of Pokemon in the meta, which is great. You can update this to Jolly if you want to max out the speed and max out the potential of outspeeding, but leave it Adamant if you want to keep it as hard-hitting as humanly possible. And that's what this thing does. This thing busts walls. Toxapex does not want to deal with this thing. It just doesn't. It's not going to hit hard enough to really effectively deal with this thing. But Excadrill with the Expert Belt, really good. Just takes out pretty much anything at its disposal here. Anything that it outspeeds, this thing will basically kill here with Expert Belt, especially any Fairy type, Ice type, really anything that it just kind of hits hard. It's just gonna wreck, which is great. It's exactly what you want. This is the third Excadrill I've showcased, so excuse me if I'm kind of at a loss for words of like how to describe Excadrill at this point, but like Excadrill is the premier ground type Pokemon of this gen. So you should just know and be aware that it's going to be on most teams. And it will probably be on your team too, because having a strong Earthquaker is very valuable. So that's just how it is. Next we have Corviknight. First time using a Corviknight basically ever. Really great, super bulky, tanky Mon. This is a tank on this team with leftovers. Pressure is the ability. Body Press. Brave Bird, Defog, Roost with the plus defense, Impish nature again. Really fun Mon to use. My only regret is that it doesn't have a little pivot. I feel like that's what it's missing. I don't know if it learns U-turn. Again, these Mons I'm still learning, which is kind of the reason why. But yeah, it does learn U-turn. So might be worth, if you're gonna run Rapid Spin on Excadrill, it might be worth running U-turn instead of Defog on Corviknight, or vice versa. Get rid of Rapid Spin here and run like run like Stone Edge or something here. One or the other. But really what you're looking for here is a super tanky mon that could come in, take a hit, slow U-turner, really useful. In terms of the specific speed stats, I'm not 100% sure what it's meant to outspeed. I'm assuming it's meant to outspeed something specific, right? But I don't have the exact layouts of what Grim set things to outspeed. So I could definitely ask him if you're curious, but I'm not really sure what the speed is. And if it's an issue, you can always just reallocate that speed into defense and just run the last 4 in special defense if you really need to, and just keep it slow, which is probably what I would do. I like keeping spreads simple, especially when you're just on the general ladder. Just keeping things really simple is probably the best. But in terms of a mon, this thing is great for just coming in, taking hits, dishes out a ton of damage back. Really great. Just, I can't stress enough. Corviknight is an absolute boss and definitely comes in handy with this team. Next, Toxapex. Toxapex is the premier wall of this gen, the premier special wall. This thing can just basically eat up any special hit for dinner. It's so good. It's so good. I can't stress it enough. I'm sorry. But definitely take the time to really get to know this Pokemon and this moveset in particular. Toxic Spikes make it super crazy because while there's like a fair amount of poison running around with Toxtricity, I still feel like Toxic Spikes is a great thing to set up in any capacity. Haze is just great for eliminating stat changes. You could probably get rid of that for Baneful Bunker if you really want to, in terms of getting rid of stats changes. I don't like, you have Whirlwind and Hippowdon and Haze here, so like if you wanted to get rid of Whirlwind or Haze, I don't necessarily think you need both, but it still serves its purpose because it's a very bulky team. So multiple things have multiple roles, which is perfectly fine. It's fine to have like repeating moves like that. It's not necessarily my style of play, but it is still a perfectly valid way of building a team, right? And this team is super bulky and is meant to just come in and take hits. Like, this thing will basically tank any Darmanitan hit, aside from maybe a Banded Earthquake. It's probably the only thing it wouldn't survive. Maybe a Banded Icicle Crash, since this thing's not defensively invested. I'm not going to do the calcs right now for it, but this thing's just an absolute monster. It's very bulky. It just takes any hit and just recovers so much HP back. It's so good. So, like, it's the premier special tank. So just get used to this thing being around, because it'll be here for a long time. Next up, Rotom Wash. A very, very, very good set for Rotom Wash with Hydro Pump, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Will-O-Wisp. There's a bunch of different ways you could run this because it is Choice Scarf, so it will, like, 90% of the time be the fastest thing on the field. And it's shiny. Can't go wrong with shiny Rotom Wash. Shiny Rotom Wash is the best red washing machine for the win. But this thing's super cool. You get a really good priority. Well, not priority, but you'll probably be the first thing to dish off a Will-O-Wisp, or just get a quick kill and switch out with Volt Switch. You can do that. Personally, the way that I like to run Rotom Wash is double status, so I'll run Thunder Wave and Will-O-Wisp on this thing. Choice Scarf, you also have the option of running Trick with it, which is great. This is nothing new. This is all... Rotom Wash has been super meta, again, for like 10 years. So it's not like the Pokemon itself hasn't really changed, but its usefulness is still here. Like, it's still just as useful as it was in Black and White for the same reasons. So Choice Scarf, you can obviously trick it onto your opponent. You can run double status and do those things, or you can keep this set, which is also very valuable and useful. Shadow Ball's also at your disposal. Things like Hyper Voice at your disposal. So Foul Play, if you want to just dish out some damage to a physical attacker. Totally fine options for this thing. But Rotom Wash can basically slot into literally any team. And you might be thinking like, oh, I see a lot of like duplicates, right? Like, we have 2 ground types, 2 steel types, 2 water types. Well, you might be thinking that, but really, they don't really share weaknesses. They just don't really share common weaknesses. Like we have a water weakness here, but we have 3 water resistances over here. I think 4. I think steel resists water, so we have like a whole bunch of water resistance. In terms of grass resistance, we have plenty. Like these 2 don't really share weaknesses. Rotom and Toxapex. Corviknight and Excadrill don't really share weaknesses neither. So even though we have a lot of shared typings on this team, it does work because the secondary typings kind of cancel out their weaknesses and make them synergize actually pretty well. So definitely don't just look at the typings and go, oh, this team's unbalanced, because that's not necessarily the case. This team's actually one of the more balanced teams that I've seen come through. So definitely do check this out. And then we have, to finish it off, a very unconventional Como-O set. And it is kind of conventional for like this meta, but just in terms of my experience with Como-O, I'm used to it as a physical attacker. So seeing a special Como-O come through my life right now is just amazing. So we have Flash Cannon, Clangorious Soul, which is just ridiculous. A Clanging Scales, Flamethrower with the Throat Spray. This thing is a monster. Como-O, if left unchecked, will destroy your face forever. Forever and ever. Don't leave this thing unchecked, because Como-O is going to be running wild through OU with Clangorious Soul in its disposal. That move is busted. It's booty broken busted. And just get ready, because Como-O is coming for you. I don't really have much to say about this. I think it really just speaks for itself in terms of usefulness and viability. Like, there's nothing I would change. Like, if you wanted, does this thing get Drain Punch? It does. So if you wanted, you could switch this out for a physical set, right? And just replace like Flash Cannon, Clanging Scales, and Flamethrower, and give it like a more conventional Drain Punch, you know, Dragon Claw, Earthquake. You can do that. It's fine. You also have the options of Aura Sphere if you want a fighting type move, if you want a stab move. If you want Aura Sphere, you also have down here Focus Blast, right? So you have plenty of options in terms of like special moves that you could kind of switch in and out on him here, which is great. Just the move pool here is just unbelievable. Like just going through all these different moves, it's just unreal the amount of versatility that you're going to have with this team. Just in terms of like, oh, if this move doesn't work, if you find yourself, like just in general, like in terms of team building, if you're playing with the team and you find yourself not using one particular move on a Mon, and you're playing like 10 games and you're like, I haven't clicked this move once, take it out, move it, change it to something else. Always keep your team growing and evolving, and I plan on kind of going through that a little bit more when we hit the new year, in terms of how to effectively build a team and how to evolve a team over time. So I hope you guys get ready for that. Definitely subscribe if you're new, and I hope you guys enjoyed. But go grab this team, play it in Showdown, enjoy the holiday season. If you're watching this late after I uploaded it, I'm sorry that I'm like throwing all these holiday references at you, because it's probably like February and you're sad. But let me know if it's February and you're sad. I want to know. I'll cheer you up. Thank you, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
This message is transmitted at the request of
Sir Squire.